Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have your annual Wrasslin Awards, your 4Lifees, the Wrestling for Life Network Awards, if you will. Me and these two pretty faces have all the trophies to give out. The Golden KJs are up for grabs, and we're going to get into all the fun stuff. Yes, Nick's already holding up the trophy. Feeling good, looking good. I hope everyone out there is doing well. It's going to be a fun night, so grab your snacks and get in that chat. Let's go. Hello, folks. Again, as always, we are live. We are the channel that is live more than any other channel out there. And we are happy to bring you the 2023 4Lifee Awards, where we go through all the fun stuff that happened this year in wrestling, from matches to pay-per-views to promotions to bookers to everything else in between. It's going to be a fun one here tonight. Gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Anthony, Big Nick, how you feeling tonight?
I'm doing good. I was letting Anthony go, but I'm doing good. I think it's going to be fun to look back at it. 2023 in pro wrestling has felt like 5 years, respectfully.
Yeah.
2023. I'm doing good, by the way, to answer your first question, but 2023 has been a wild ride from January 1st, and we haven't even made it to December 31st yet. Something big could still happen, but it's just been a big year in wrestling. And I have to agree with Nick. It feels like it's been about 5 years in a whole 365 days.
Oh, yeah, honestly, like looking back when you're trying to, accumulate nominees and come up with awards and set up the fan vote, you start to realize like how much actually happened in 2023. A lot of people talk about the wrestling boom and wrestling kind of getting back on the forefront of a lot of mainstream media. And I mean, we talk about some of the matches, and you go all the way back to January, and some of the matches stood up all year long. Some of the pay-per-views from back early in the year are still doing well as far as, how they got nominated and rolled through. But yes, 2023 was a packed year with so much that we did not expect to happen. Vince is out. Punk is fired. Punk is rehired. Tony's losing his mind. So much is going on in the wrestling world. TNA is coming back in 2023.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, everything you just named, including TNA, was like it was moment after moment. I felt like it was something each month that got the wrestling world a buzz in 2023, and I feel like it's going to be even bigger going into 2024.
I was actually just about to say that, Anthony. I feel like we could do these awards for every single month, honestly, of like in January of 2023, in November of 2023, something crazy happened every week. It almost feels like. And if you actually got bingo on your 2023 pro wrestling bingo card, you're a goddamn liar, because there has been so much just out of left field, even in just like the last week or so.
No, exactly. In the last week or so, it's just been a lot of stuff. News coming out with TNA. It's just a lot. And it's hard to even keep up with. And I feel like it's going to be even harder next year to kind of keep up with everything that's dropping in front of us.
No, I can't agree more with both of you. One thing I will say is hello to the chat. I hope everyone out there is doing well. Thank you for showing up at our award ceremony. And congratulations to all the nominees. One thing in 2023 is this channel has blown up, going from a very, very tiny thing to, tripling our numbers in the next calendar year. So we haven't even hit our second birthday yet, and things are flying. A big thank you to all the fans out there, to all the people that tune in, to all the people that give us super chats, likes, love, spend any time with us. Again, the channel has been crazy. The last 2 months, we had our biggest month ever, and then we had our biggest month ever by like 27%. So it just keeps getting better here at the Wrestling for Life Network. We're looking forward to 2024 and bringing you more live coverage, more content, more interviews. We're going to get into all of it. But it's been a lot of fun Real quick before we get into the first award, anybody have a bold prediction for 2024? A big bold one.
I'm standing by my bold prediction. Mercedes Monet shows up at Hard to Kill.
Oh, it goes against one of mine.
Cody Rhodes will not win defeat Roman Reigns, win a world title in 2024.
No title for. I'll go kind of the opposite. CM Punk will be a world champion in 2024.
So, I can see that.
Wow.
All right, maybe not that bold. I also said
he goes over Seth.
He goes over Seth. All right. I also thought that Sasha Banks is going to show up at the Rumble, so I'll throw that one in there.
You conflicted with both mine and Anthony's. You're in the middle.
Well, come January 13th, me and Anthony might have to have it out.
Exactly.
Right? But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, and feel free to give your opinion on the nominees. We will try and click on some. Make sure if you want to stand out and definitely get clicked, the super chat is there. But let's get into these awards, fellas. How do you feel about it?
I just want to click on one comment quickly before we do that, just because it caught me.
The man of the people.
Or 100%. But even we're talking about you and Anthony having it out. We have a new contender, I guess, for a new award for the 4Lifees here. The award trophy should be Anthony's hat dipped in gold.
I like that. I
like it. Now, would it be a hat specific award like Julia Hart or Butch or somebody known for headwear?
Or is it TNA specific? Is it the
Oh.
TNA specific award is the Anthony award?
We'll have to consider that for sure.
I like the TNA specific award.
You might be onto something. I like it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's give out some awards. Let's talk about it. And first up is
the best storyline. That is the category, the best storyline. And our nominees for the best storyline are Better Than You, Baby, Adam Cole, and MJF. I forgot his name for a second.
Potentially the devil.
All right.
We have Jey Uso, I'm Out, which was pretty big this year. And then we have the Minion to Challenger. I think I said that right. Is that Minion? All right. That's Billy Starks. And y'all gonna have to say her name. Yes, Athena, because I'm looking at her like I don't know who that is, but I do know who that is.
Judge the wrestler by the back of their head.
And last but not least,
we have the honorary Uso, Sami Zayn, where I was actually there when he attacked Roman after the Royal Rumble on that episode of SmackDown.
That had to be a moment. That had to be a pop.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy in Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina. Shout out. Okay, folks, that's your nominees for the first award. Anybody want to give it a little bit of opinion here on those four real quick? I know you were live for one.
I would have to say for me, it would be the honorary Uso. I was there. So yeah. It would have to be the Uso for me.
Yeah.
You, sir?
Oh, I was waiting for you. I'm clicking on
then I'll go with Better Than You, Baby.
I knew you would.
Yeah, I'm a Scarf Care member, 100%. I 100%. To me, it's a toss-up between honorary Uso and that. I think it's interesting because the Better Than You, Baby storyline still playing out. Granted, it did start later in the year, but there's still more layers, like we like to always talk about on this show. There's more layers right now to it still.
Definitely got some layers. Well, without further ado, Mr. Anthony.
And the winner is, drum roll. I don't know if anybody has a drum roll.
I had it.
Jey Uso, I'm Out.
Dun, dun, dun. It's got to be the winner, right? I mean, as far as storyline goes, and as much as it launched Jey Uso out of the bloodline, I saw somebody in the chat say technically Jey got into this category twice because he was involved in the honorary Uso. I think that was just too early in the year. Like it kind of ran its course by Mania or before Mania. So I'm Out. What a big deal. One of the biggest pops, one of our biggest reactions of the year, Nick.
Oh, and I feel like that kind of happened multiple times to an extent. Roman got super kicked a lot, I feel, in 2023.
Right? He deserves it. You deserve it.
Right. But yeah, this has fully launched Jey Uso into main event. Jey Uso has the reactions that he gets at events and everything is phenomenal. Christ, they're selling a blurred out Yeet shirt because of this man. Because his drunk ass was at a press conference after SummerSlam, just kept going, Yeet, Yeet.
Right.
I know we kind of passed this portion, but bold prediction, he becomes a world heavyweight champion in
Ooh.
2024.
Ooh.
I got him for IC title. I got him taking down Gunther.
Ooh, that's even a better one.
Yeah, I'll cover both bases and just say Jey Uso holds single gold in 2024.
I like it.
Go. I like when we work together.
I'm like the guy at Price is Right that bets $1.
Yeah. Everyone gives a dirty look too. Oh man.
Right.
Oh, that's it. The chat, a lot of the chat seems to agree. So someone threw in a Sasha Banks spotted last night. all right. We'll get to that tomorrow, Damien.
We'll talk about it later.
Mr. Nick, do you want to tackle number 2?
So, of course you would with this one. The Future Star Award. And the nominees are, and they might be contested. Carmelo Hayes.
I think you're contesting Breakout, not Future, but we'll talk about it.
Okay. Well, close enough.
We're just helping you.
But Tiffany Stratton, Tiffany Epiphany. Let's go.
Let's go.
And nominee number 3, Julia Hart, 100%. And then Whoop That Trick Williams. So very much the young up and coming talent group there. And the winner is.
Do you want to talk about it, or how does the chat feel about it?
We'll talk about it after we know who the winner is.
All right,
let's talk about it now.
Let's get into it. Let's go. The winner is, as you said,
Carmelo Hayes.
Dun dun dun.
I think 100% right now he's the most ready-made guy out of this group. Respect. Trick's really hot right now. Julia's really hot right now. Everybody is. Carmelo's already ready-made, built package for the main roster, as we've seen with his appearances on the main roster.
Yeah,
I would have to agree with you there. I actually thought they was gonna pull the trigger and have him actually face for the US title. I forgot his name, y'all. Excuse me.
Logan Paul.
Super tired. But Logan Paul, yes, that is him. I really thought they were going to pull that trigger with Carmelo Hayes, but they didn't. But he's a future star. He has this in the bag already.
Well, there's talks he might be in the Rumble as well, if you believe the alleged rumored already leaked out, completely false Royal Rumble report there that he may be in there. But I still would believe that he could be in the Royal Rumble. He's not going to win it, clearly. But I think even a moment like that and how they still have him labeled as an NXT superstar, I found interesting. Yeah, I could fully see him in the Royal Rumble. I think he's another guy who could hold main roster mid-card gold by the end of 2024.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and I think if we did this award like 2 months from now, Trick might be like really knocking on that door. Tiffany had a great year, but like you said, Carmelo's the guy who's ready-made right now.
Yeah, agreed. I there's basically nothing for me at least to say against anything both of you guys have said. I think the next year is the year of Carmelo on the main roster.
I was gonna just give Julia Hart some of her flowers and everything like that. Even though she probably missed them, but he's very much become the breakout star, surprisingly, with a faction of Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black. She's become the breakout of that whole faction, and she's become a breakout in the women's division, honestly. So you would have thought, looking at peppy little cheerleader Alexa Bliss 2.0, that she'd end up being spooky goth chick that is one of the top AEW female wrestlers right now.
Would she be the breakout star of AEW this year?
I would say so. Her or another contender would be Sky Blue.
No. Let's go with Julia.
He was like, no, I can't agree with that one.
You're ahead. All right. So that's 2 in the books, folks. Remember, get in that chat. Let us know how we're doing. I guess I will tackle award number 3. up next. Most hated in 2023. I like this award, the Boo Award, the Villain Award, if you will.
The Boo Earns. The Boo
The
Earns.
Boo Earns Award. This is what I should have called it.
The
First nominee, Mr. Don Callis, head of the Callis family, or Phallus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But yeah, big shout out to Don. Nominee number 2, the Father of the Year. He might not be, the most hated, but he's definitely the Father of the Year, according to him. So that one's there. Dominic Mysterio. Of course, we know what he did this year and his booings. And Roman Reigns, as much as he gets cheered, he gets tons of heat. Lots of people still hate it. The fact that, he defended his belt or had 11 matches this year. So definitely on the list. And the winner would be, now real quick, I see the chat jumping in already. Dirty Dom, what do you boys think?
The booings. The booings.
I read that that's what threw me off. I saw it and I went, booings.
Same thing. Same mind. Hive mind.
Right.
If it's anybody, it has to be Dom. I mean,
are the boos pumped? Are the boos piped in?
Okay, so my perspective on that, I've been there twice.
Okay.
With Dominic Mysterio being booed, and to me, it didn't feel piped in. It felt like the crowd literally hated that man. So yeah, I don't think it's piped in.
No, the best way to always judge it is by how the crowd reacts actually behind them, because you can still see them. Like we've seen it, obviously, me and KJ here being live as much as we are, to where you hear a bunch of boos, you hear a bunch of reactions, but everyone's
nobody's
moving. They're not moving at all. Like, where is this sound coming from?
That's the NXT crowd where they're all sitting on their hands and you hear all this.
And we hear NXT. I'm so checking their watch. Fuck.
AJ out in the chat agreeing with Mr. Anthony as well. He says, the heat's there. But your winner as the most hated in 2023 goes to, let's see if this works. Tell me if you can hear this. I don't know. It hasn't been functioning. Definitely not working.
Nope.
Definitely can't hear anything.
Got nothing, Ghost Rider.
Nope. Okay. Good microphone. Winner is Dominic Mysterio. Of course, I think he gets more heat than anybody in the world. It's crazy. Hated by all.
Hated by all. I mean, and I even think his WrestleMania entrance coming out like he was coming from prison. I think that was just spot on in TV Gold. So he deserves this award.
Condom 100% deserves at least some type of flowers when it comes to pro wrestling in 2023, whether it's the WrestleMania entrance, like you said, Anthony, which is still a lot of people's favorite entrance of this year and everything like that, to even all the stuff that he's done with Rhea, with Mommy, to where we've had the little video packages, to where he's getting arrested, showing up at Dom's house and everything, etc., to be a North American champion and being on NXT and helping elevate that. He's had one of the best years in pro wrestling in 2023, across the board.
Yeah,
no, agreed. If you want to call it a breakout year for him, you really could call it a breakout year for him, because it was revolved around him and Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day. So yeah, like I said, he deserves this award.
Yeah, really hard to refute with that one. Again, everything you guys said kind of summed it up nicely. So congrats to Dom Mysterio for being the most hated man in wrestling this year.
Well, I was going to say, well, I was in tune with him supposing to have to be the most hated. It's because of the work that he's done is why he's able to get that reaction.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because literally, no, it doesn't matter who's in the ring. And the second Dom touches the mic, it's deafening. You can't hear what he has to say. Literally, when we're watching the show, people in the fucking crowd, nothing.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right. I think we're back to Anthony for the next one.
The biggest pop of the year. And I mean, there were some loud ones this year. We got the nominees. So here are the nominees. CM Punk returns. And if you can say deafening, I think that was deafening. Then we got The Rock coming back, a surprise episode of SmackDown, just a random episode of SmackDown, and The Rock shows up. Excellent nominee. Bad Bunny Backlash. Yeah, that was when he played that specific song, which I don't know the title to. They were all rocking in Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Chambea.
Right.
Sammy goes home. Another crowd popping moment. I mean, I think we had a lot this year.
Yeah, the Sammy one almost made me cry.
Exactly.
A true Canadian at heart there.
Right? I mean, that's probably the biggest ovation for a non-hockey player in Montreal ever.
And now here is your winner.
The winner.
CM Punk returns. Yeah, that was definitely, I don't even think it was more of a crowd deafening moment. I think it was a worldwide deafening moment. People online were screaming for CM Punk at Survivor Series. So definitely well deserved for CM Punk.
Yeah, no. Is it the first one that like it was like the global pop? Like they even showed it on Raw of like other streamers of just everybody lost their mind, and the way they did it was perfect.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I was going to say, shout out to we happened to fortunately make it into a couple of those, highlight reels. We were sitting there watching the Monday Night Raw. Oh, we've been in the same clips as them, and oh wait, we might be on Monday Night Raw. It was literally on. Some people say on that day, Phil Brooks' heart grew 3 sizes that day. That was a global. That was a collective pro wrestling event. And this was a category of heavy hitters. From The Rock just shows up randomly in Colorado just because, everyone was big into Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes at that time. To, like you said, Sammy shows up in Montreal and almost brought a tear to your eye. The prodigal son has returned home. And holy shit, he might do it. To even... Again, like with Bad Bunny shows up in Puerto Rico, that was arguably the best crowd for any event in pro wrestling in 2023 because that crowd was alive the entire time and they had the nice little drone shot that took you into the arena. That was phenomenal. So in a list of heavy hitters, CM Punk has to be head and shoulders above the group still somehow. Now we still got one over Dwayne too. Yeah, I know. I'm talking enough. I'm done.
I had to do it
not even what I'm at.
I had to do it at least once. I was waiting. No, I mean, hard to argue, and I think you covered it, all the bases there. Backlash was unbelievable, but Punk broke the internet, and it's so hard to compete with that. I know some people are, some honorable mentions out there like a Copeland, but doesn't matter. Punk was the pop of all pops this year.
I think if you had to give it a close second to anything, it would have to be the entire Backlash crowd, going back to what Nick said, because from start to finish, that crowd was electric. Watching at home, I even was getting goosebumps like I was there in the crowd with them. Nice. From the Bianca Belair match with Io Sky and how it was just lit all the way to the end. The Backlash, if there was a best crowd award, it went to Backlash.
It was the best Bad Bunny concert that featured some wrestling.
Exactly.
and it's funny because I'll say Montreal was right there with Puerto Rico. I thought, especially when you got the vibe that Sammy had us believing that he could win. I thought that crowd was equally insane, like neck and neck.
I think Montreal was waiting for a moment. It was the tension kept building as you had the video packages. You were building that constant tension to the main event, and that was your big payoff. Puerto Rico was just like I said, it was a Bad Bunny concert with some wrestling.
There you go. So congratulations to CM Punk. He gets the award, and next category, Big Nick.
Best non-wrestler.
Dun dun dun.
As I pull that off the screen. Prince Nana, I swerve when I try. Yeah, big pressure I apply. Scott D'Amore making big moves with TNA. Well, yeah, now TNA, formerly Impact. And nominee number 3, Don Fallis makes appearance again. Twice nominated. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, especially with that Pepto-Bismol suit. Oh, thanks. Now I'm even getting the chuckles. And my name is Paul Heyman. And I think this is a runaway here. Respect to Nana with I swerve when I drive. But if I have my 2 cents, Paul Heyman should win this. Does anyone have another person that they think should win?
I like this one.
Aubrey Edwards. Personalities, I almost want to say we like, but I don't know if I like Callis, but
I don't really have another person that I would like to win other than Paul Heyman, but I want to give a shout out to Juan, who said Scott D'Amore, because even though this might be completely wrong, I agree with you.
Well, your place was in the right heart. You spelt it wrong, but your place was in the right
heart. No, Scott was had an amazing year, and I mean, not just as being like the guy in the back, but coming out, he got involved in storyline at one point, so a little bit of a trick, but I give him bonus points for hitting a Canadian destroyer at his age and size. So yeah, man, Scott had a wicked year, but yeah, I think he's in tough with this one.
Are you ready? The winner is, folks, Paul Heyman.
Dun, dun, dun. He's the heavy hitter. Is there anyone better? Period. Maybe this is just the Paul Heyman Award in the future.
Well, does it have to be you have to win a certain award so many times and then the award gets named after you?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting close there.
There you go. Yeah, I don't think it's anybody better than Paul Heyman. He does it every night and does it very well. I mean, it's no denying it.
You know what? With Paul, he does it just like with his face. He doesn't even have to speak. Like just being in the background of all those segments or standing at ringside, he physically does it without even saying a word. You know what Paul wants you to think. It's amazing.
Well, and it's all the minute details. Like you've even brought it up multiple times to where he's got the visitor pass on the back of his phone when he's showing up at Raw, or how as Roman's away and he's getting more stressed, there's more of the gray showing up in his hair and everything. From when he sat there, and I know this is pre-2023, but when he's sitting there and he doesn't shave and he's got the stubble and he sits there and makes sure he's crying right before he reveals as he's, so heartbroken because Roman cast him out. He's a walking masterclass in how to be a personality in pro wrestling, because it's every minute detail conveys a whole story.
No, even when you can even take it a little further, even when something is going wrong or something that he doesn't like and Roman is not there, hey, call Roman Reigns. That little bit is just like, I got to let the tribal chief know, even though he's not watching SmackDown, that this is what Jimmy Uso just did.
He's got a catchphrase and everything. He's got a signature pose now. You just know once he gets like this, call Roman Reigns.
Right.
Yeah, we need the action. We need the action figure with the cell phone and that
stuck like this.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Mr. Paul Heyman, and we will move on to the next, which is the breakout superstar of the year, Nick.
I thought you were setting me up earlier. I apologize.
No, I should have, though. I wish I would have thought of it. Ladies and gentlemen, the breakout star for the person that actually popped and got over, and the nominees are Julia Hart, back at it again. Good for her. LA Knight. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a yeah button. I need a yeah button. Dominic Mysterio, we already talked about what kind of year he had. And then Swerve, of course, breaking out huge for AEW. Expect him to be a champion next year. That's another one. And the winner would be LA Knight. It has to be Knight. Yeah. The crowd's with us. The crowd's with us. What do you think, folks?
I feel like LA Knight was the only choice here. I'm not a fan of LA Knight, but it's the only choice here. I'm sorry, Nick. I saw your face. No. I'm not a big fan of LA Knight, but this was the obvious choice for everybody
No,
else
no, no,
in the
no, no.
universe that likes LA Knight.
I'm just more confused by it. That says something though. If you're not a fan of him and you're saying he's the only choice, I think this was a category of heavy hitters here. Of you and I, even KJ, had it out, and I saw neither one of who we suggested made it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but there was depth in this category 100%, and it's a list. It's a murderer's row. Again, it goes back to 2023 has been a boom period in pro wrestling, but LA Knight has established himself as 2023's Stone Cold Steve Austin, I guess, maybe a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, it's funny because last year, I mean, some of our categories were a little different, and he was actually nominated as Max Dupree for like what the F.
Yeah, how the times change.
That's the amazing part of his story. You figured he would have been destroyed by being Max Dupree and that
Future
whole
endeavor, he'd be Max Dupree right now, or Dupree Max or something on AEW right now, you'd feel. Or you go back to being TNA and be Eli Drake again.
Right. So yeah, no, I think this one is kudos to everyone else who had a big year. We talked about Dom, we talked about Julia, but at the end of the day, LA Knight is just, he's in that upper rung where people were like, give him the belt. So that's over his shit for me.
Oh, well, Christ, he's got a whole catchphrase. He's up there. He's one step away from Austin with the what, with Ric Flair with the woo, with just, yeah.
Yeah. I want a dummy button in 2024.
I feel like Staples used to sell something. No, that was the
easy.
That was simple. That was simple. Or yeah, the easy button.
Stone Cold Steve Folsom. Groundwell support. Yeah. Julia really only had the last 2 months. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the next one, boys?
I am.
There you go.
So we have the best faction of 2023, and here are your nominees. We have the Bloodline. Gotta throw up the ones for the Bloodline.
The Bloodline.
We have Damage Control, which took a turn like halfway through the year for the better. Then we have the Judgment Day with Mommy and Dominic Mysterio.
I feel like I should have included R-Truth in this.
I was gonna say, I call shenanigans. There is no R-Truth. I want a mistrial.
And I forgot their name. I think it's House of Black. We have the House of Black. Did I say that right? I did. Okay. With Julia Hart and Malachi Black.
And the chat jumping in already. Oh, look at this one.
They
have to be on TV.
That's true. They have to be on TV. The Elite has to be on TV. I think that kind of rhymes. And the winner is the Judgment Day.
Dun, dun, dun.
I feel like this could have went a lot of different ways. You could have had the Bloodline. You really could have had Damage Control as well. But yeah, I think the Judgment Day is the right call here.
Nice. Nick?
I think so. I think somebody said it in the chat, and I can't see the comment now. But talking about how already right there, you've got nothing but championship gold around that entire faction right there. 100%. We're making jokes of they've got to include R-Truth. That they can. R-Truth is their Sami Zayn. It's there where the Bloodline was a year or so ago. Right now, they are the most talked thing on Monday Night Raw outside of CM Punk, which Dom just took on CM Punk. He's become the new X-Pac of the litmus test for can you still go in 2023?
Right. And I see some people throwing in their 2 cents about the Bloodline. The downfall of the Bloodline, I think, in this category this year. And again, for those who don't know, and we haven't said it much, a lot of this was a fan vote this year. So the Bloodline kind of played its story out going into Mania. It trickled out past Mania a little bit, but by the time we got to the end of the year, we had kind of split up, and they haven't really been that relevant. since the big breakup, since that Jay moment, and then Jay quit and went to Raw. So, you know, for doing it, we thought these guys were dead. They were the House of Purple. We thought they were done. And man, with the addition of Mommy and Dom kind of figuring it out, they've been nothing but fire, main events, pay-per-views, belts, and belts. Still Senior Money in the Bank. How do you argue with it?
They were to the point that they were featured that much on Raw that we were quote unquote getting bored of it because they were constantly there. The story of the Bloodline this year was more of the breakup, the fallout of the Bloodline than anything. And by the way, like KJ said, y'all voted on this. Don't be mad at us. Y'all picked this.
Exactly.
Be mad at yourselves. Y'all picked this.
I feel like in some shape or form, the Bloodline for a good portion of not the Bloodline, the Judgment Day for a good portion of 2023 was in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Some variation of them. If it was Dom, if it was Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, some form of them were in the main event of Monday Night Raw for a good number of months.
100%. 100%. Judgment Day is the right pick. There you go. Boston approves. Yeah, I got nothing.
I was gonna say you've got Senior Money in the Bank, you know, Grimace there right next to Farquaad. You've got the undisputed tag team champions. You've got Mommy, who is the most dominant superstar, I think, on Monday Night Raw next to Seth Rollins with being women's champion. Then you've got Dom with the NXT North American Championship. Like, that's why I've laughed a little bit in my head, Anthony, when you're mistaken calling them the Bloodline, because to me, they're interchangeable. This is where the Bloodline was a year or so ago of, oh, well, they're featured too much. They're too good. They're doing too much. And now they've got their Sami Zayn with R-Truth. Were you about to send me off there? Fine, I'm done. You have that.
The man wants to rumble.
I'm good. I want to talk.
All right, congratulations to the Judgment Day. I think you're up next, Nick. So you better unzip.
Best weekly show.
This one's going to be contested.
Well, after this now. But so, nominee number 1, Monday Night Raw. Will it remain Monday Night Raw in 2024? We'll wait to be seen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Next nominee, NXT. Nominee number 3, AW Dynamite. And then nominee number 4, Impact Wrestling. And then Friday Night SmackDown Mago as nominee number 5. We got 5 in this category here.
We did. We gave him an extra one.
Well, there were some people that were upset. Well, what? No Collision, no Rampage? No, we have contenders, not, pretenders. But and the winner for best weekly show in pro wrestling in 2023 is Friday Night SmackDown.
Recount. Because that should say Impact Wrestling.
One considerably.
I beg to differ. I say it should be NXT.
I'm okay with SmackDown.
I get SmackDown because it had probably the biggest moments and was out of the big 2 for WWE, it was the most consistent.
Yeah, and SmackDown was full of really big moments this year, especially with the Bloodline, and Fox really did a good job of, selling us on like Roman's coming back. So, but you had The Rock show up, you had Cena show up. SmackDown, to me, as far as being big and grandiose, it kind of took the cake for me.
I mean, I can agree there. I feel like Impact had the best consistent wrestling this year, but I'll concede and go with SmackDown.
I will concede and say that I still stand that NXT is the most consistent weekly show versus the best weekly show. So I'll go with that. It will get you on a technicality.
NXT's been good, man. There's just some shit in there that just
there's some bad shit too. I'll admit that.
Any surprise that like Collision doesn't make the list? I know that was kind of the big one. Where's Collision?
No,
not really. I think Collision started hot and then went cold right after CM Punk got fired. So I can't even tell you the last time I watched Collision. So
Fact.
What they had on Collision that could have made it a contender is now going to be on Monday Night Raw in 2024. So Monday Night Raw might end up winning Best Weekly Show. So how about them apples?
Yeah, that 3-hour grind. I mean, they need a Punk and a whole bunch of other things, which it seems like it might come. But yeah, no, it's a struggle right now as far as we especially early 2023. There was a lot of 3-hour shows where I was, putting toothpicks in my eyes to get through it.
Oh yeah. The 3 hours is the problem.
Right. But a couple people agree with you. NXT was the most consistent. NXT had the better feuds.
No, because you bring up a very valid point. Like I said, that's ultimately why SmackDown wins out, because you had the John Cena's, you had the LA Knight stuff, you had everything with the bloodline really kind of play out. If it wasn't playing out on a pay-per-view, it was playing out on SmackDown. So 100%. As much as we've praised Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Sammy, etc. throughout that, if it wasn't playing out on a pay-per-view, it was playing out on SmackDown. So
yeah, and a lot of times it really was.
Right.
All right, boys. I mean, I guess we go on to the next.
On to the next one. On to the next one.
Is it my turn? I've lost track.
Rochambeau for it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do pay-per-view of the year. Again, this one highly contested. We got a lot of pay-per-views to get through in the calendar year. So the nominees are AEW Wrestle Dream. Dun, dun. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. I guess both nights. Elimination Chamber in Montreal. Bound for Glory in Chicago. And before I click the winner, how are we feeling about this category?
Yeah. Well, no, it's one of those of trying to remember all the pay-per-views this year. Respectfully, there's been a fuck ton.
Right. I know Anthony's probably leaning Bound for Glory here.
I am leaning a lot towards Bound for Glory, and my second one would be the Elimination Chamber.
Nice.
Yeah.
Backlash
just missed. Honorable mention to Backlash.
I was about to mention that, but to me, if you're including both nights of Mania together, Mania has to win. It's a big issue if Mania doesn't win, respectfully. Like, Wrestle Dream's arguably the best show, maybe Full Gear out of the AEW shows. But yeah, if WrestleMania doesn't win every year, then WWE kind of failed, I feel.
Is it really WrestleMania? I think that's the question you could ask. Like, if WrestleMania doesn't win, is it really WrestleMania?
Right. A lot of people saying, a couple people saying Survivor Series deserves a nom.
Was it the pay-per-view or was it the moment? Did the moment make the pay-per-view?
I think that one. I really like Survivor Series, but I think without that Punk moment, it would have been really good.
It's not there.
Yeah, I think without the Punk moment and without the women's War Games match, Survivor Series wouldn't even touch the.
I'm out here catching strays. I didn't even know.
The other thing is, some people pointed to All In, which I think it was a great event for AEW, but it wasn't their best pay-per-view as far as what happened in the ring.
Well, and Crispy Chicken mentioned Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, it was
also could have been considered, but I think, well, much like you were saying with All In, it's more spectacle. And realistically, do we remember All In for anything more than a moment that mostly happened backstage? And Wrestle Kingdom, we remember, I feel, mostly because of one match.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think All In was overshadowed with what happened backstage. And the only really moment that comes to my mind that I really enjoyed at All In was Saraya winning the title, because I'm a huge fan of Saraya. That's literally the only thing I can remember. Other than that, I don't know what else happened on that card.
All right. Well, I think, I thought the best match was Punk's last match with Samoa Joe. I thought Samoa Joe killed it. So the winner is WrestleMania, as we thought. This killed the vote. This murdered the vote, like you said.
It had to. It had to, respectfully. It's one of those, you're the odds-on favorite. Like, you should win this every fucking time. This is Tom Brady on the Patriots. This is Michael Jordan on the Bulls. You're supposed to win.
The only time WrestleMania doesn't win if there's a year without WrestleMania.
Right. Funny comment here is it would be interesting if you all waited till after World's End, which I mean it's very tricky to do to host the awards. So
I'm gonna tell you right now, that ain't gonna be a fucking nominee.
fair enough.
Tell you right now, respectfully, you can take your Adam Cole Devil storyline. It is not gonna be the best pay-per-view of the year.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think it will beat WrestleMania, if nothing else. But you never know. I'm hoping. Hey, if you're right, and we, we'll augment. We'll put out a,
recount. But yeah, I'd rather be wrong than be right. I just have a very strong feeling I'm right.
Facts. All right. Next up. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let me hit the correct button. It was so dramatic.
So, best match of the year in 2023.
Best match.
Is it my turn? Whose turn is it?
Doesn't matter.
I'll go. Well, we can share it. We can share it.
And the nominees are for the best match of the year. We have Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom.
And we have Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber in Montreal.
Then we have FTR versus Jay White and Juice Robinson for the AEW World Tag Team Championships and a 2 out of 3 falls match on Collision.
And then we've got MJF versus Bryan Danielson at AEW Revolution. In the Iron Man match, by the way.
Iron Man.
And the winner is...
Do y'all feel like this can be like the highest debated one of all of them? We'll find out.
I feel like it can.
No Gunther. The winner is
Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. I don't really think it can be debated now.
Well, there's even matches that weren't even on the list, like say Cody versus Roman, some of even the Seth Cody matches, etc. There people are saying like the triple threat between Gunther, Drew, Sheamus. There was a fucking murderous row of potential nominees for this category. So whittling it down was pretty thin. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, this one's tough because there's, hundreds of matches, and we had to get down to 4. Becky, Trish, Gunther, Ospreay probably could have been nominated 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
The very close runner-up in this category was Ospreay and Speedball. They tore it down. This one is tough.
I think it's more actually debatable with the matches that weren't nominated than the matches that were nominated. Because like you said, you got Becky and Trish. You could have put Bianca and Io from Backlash in there, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley from WrestleMania. Like you said, Will Ospreay in any match he had in 2023, Mike Bailey, Josh Alexander. I mean, there's a lot that could have went into this, and I think it's more debatable outside than actually in the nominations.
Now, while I agree that this match very much stands, I feel, head and shoulders above pretty much every other match. I think it's surprising that the tag match that was free on TV has lasted that long throughout the year of still being one of the best matches in 2023. But can I throw in a controversial nominee of Swerve versus Hangman in Texas Street Fight?
I didn't like the match. I thought it was good. That's it.
I like your face, KJ.
It's a controversial.
It's a little bit of disgust and a little bit of good.
People who,
right. No, you're not the only one that thought that. A lot of people really like that match. I thought if you took some of the big talking points out of that match, it was just another. It was good. It was. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like, no.
it needed that to be the match that it was, versus this was technical prowess. This was like you've talked about, especially because I'm a bigger Kenny fan than you are, I feel, of how this is when we got to see New Japan Kenny versus, you know, New Japan Will Ospreay versus we got AW Kenny, to where he kind of half the time almost feels like he's got that AJ Styles phoned it in vibe.
Facts. And I think what really impressed me, and you just touched on this, everyone's got to keep in mind this match at Wrestle Kingdom 17 was in January, like the first week of January. Like we're doing Wrestle Kingdom 18 January 4th. And we're still talking about how amazing this match was. And you can kind of lump it in with the rematch at Forbidden Door 2. But I mean, Cody Brock, I think, was underrated. There was, again, maybe we'll do like a top 10 next year instead of.
You can do a tier list of the matches in 2023.
Yeah. Ilya Dijak, holy shit. Gunther Gable. I mean, we could go all day.
Right.
For a long time.
But I guess we'll say congratulations to Kenny and Will, and on to the next. I like your little tandem thing. That was awesome.
Yeah, now it's your turn though again. Do we have to do best tag team, so we got to do it again?
Yeah, maybe. I'll just the next category is best tag team, and the nominees are, and you guys can bounce.
There you go. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the Canadian Express there.
I'll take that.
ABC from Impact Wrestling. They had an awesome year.
And the Creed brothers, you know, shout out Rocky.
FTR.
Dun dun dun. Before I say anything about who the winner is on this one, legitimately a very thin crop. Like this is thin.
The thinnest it's been in a minute.
I feel like next year tag team wrestling has to be pushed to the forefront because it's struggling a little bit.
Well, when you've got unified titles, is that a problem? Of you've got, you know, when two divisions become one, it thins the herd.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I mean, it was so weird. Like when we were trying to like look at the nominees, there's maybe two, maybe three that could have made the list, but that's about it.
Yeah, you're trying to remember tag teams versus trying to pick nominees.
All right, and the winner is
FTR. I like that.
I totally hit the gunshot button, didn't I?
Yeah, I was like,
I
what the hell? Get shot in the ghetto. You almost triggered my fight or flight response there.
There we go. FTR takes the award. And again, I don't think they had, I think their 2022 was better than their 2023. So they kind of win by just being who they are.
Sorry, I'm like triple chuckling because I realized the layers of that joke within that. But anyways, you can have that. 100%. I think maybe the only team that could have arguably been added that was left out would be, I saw some people say Bullet Club Gold, but then again, that's not even exactly a tag team, that's more a faction. Yeah, FTR I think has, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just doing small. Like the Bullet Club Gold had a very small sample size.
Well, they did also have one of, like we just talked about, one of the best matches in 2023 with FTR. But that's the thing, is FTR going back to even their year last year, they were undeniably the best tag team. They had undeniably the best match in matches in 2023. And it feels like lately they've kind of tapered off a little bit. I worry a bit. But yeah, they for the most of 2023 was the best tag team, I feel.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with you, Nick. I don't.
Sorry.
No, it makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's I mean, again, it's a weird category this year. I know some people had commented of like the Judgment Day should have got some love on this one just because they've had the belts for the last little bit, but again, I think a little recency bias. So congratulations to FTR.
Well, I like this. If y'all ain't gonna go give no love to Chelsea Green and Piper Niven,
You know what? That's fact. Left out.
recount. But everyone that's mentioning the Briscoes and everything, that's 2022. I know 2023 felt like a lot.
Yeah.
So it gets a little cloudy at times. But yeah, no, that was 2022.
I thought it was 2022. I just wasn't sure. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't say anything.
Very much so. Very much so. The EDM girls, just for a last one, but yeah, we'll see what they do in 2024. Ready for the next one? We're almost done. We're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Well, I will just say was what talking about that, and even fitting with this of, hey, professional wrestling, give us a reason to have a best female tag team category next year. How about that?
I like that.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
That's a challenge to y'all.
Wait a minute.
Why they getting booed? Boo this man. Boo this man.
Was that not cheering?
That was terrible cheering. If that was
it was like kids cheering.
Well, up next, who's taking this one? Best female.
I'll take it.
This one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll take this. So, best female of 2023, and the nominees are Becky Lynch, Toni Storm. Let me rephrase that. Timeless Toni Storm. Then we have Masha Slamovich and Rhea Ripley. And my girl, Trinity.
Dun, dun, dun. And so this one's this one should be debated quite a bit. But the winner is,
And the winner is Rhea Ripley.
Thoughts?
I think we should let Nick speak first because he rolled his eyes.
No. I actually agree with I've said before, I think Rhea Ripley is one of the best pro wrestlers doing it, male or female, one of the best pro wrestlers doing it. I would almost argue, like, I want a silver trophy here with this one. I think Rhea ran away with this, and I want to know who would be number 2. Because to me, I think Masha deserves her flowers. She was the only female, I believe, that was in the top 15 in the men's, in the total PWI and everything. I know I'm sounding like Tony with the cage match ratings and everything, but I think that there's obviously away with this. I think it's contested to who's number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're going number 2, I'm probably going to agree. I think me and Anthony might agree with it. Trinity had an outstanding 2023, considering where she came from.
Yeah, an outstanding year. I would actually not merging her her 2 careers, her WWE career and her Impact career. I would put Trinity in the breakout star of 2023 because as Trinity, I think we've seen the best that she had to offer. I even said earlier that I believe all 3 of her matches with Deonna Purrazzo were on par with that match she had with Charlotte, one of her last matches in WWE with Charlotte on SmackDown. So I would honestly, I would kind of push mommy out the way and give this all to Trinity.
So you think Trinity wins this outright?
I really do. Only because
Rhea
Ripley hasn't had a standing feud this year. She hasn't. Other than that, Rhea Ripley has been
the biggest star on Monday Night Raw.
That's what I was about to say. Other than her not having actually standalone women's feud
that I saw,
she is the biggest star in WWE. But if you want to put all of it on just being the top woman of any company, I really feel like it's Trinity. Because I think Trinity did a lot more than what Rhea Ripley has done regarding pushing the envelope for women's wrestling. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say Rhea Ripley is still, to me, one of the best pro wrestlers doing it, male or female. She's transcended that being in the women's division thing. We've seen her out there slamming Luke Gallows, staring down Solo, Sikoa, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this is not even a debate. I think Rhea Ripley ran away with it. For everything she's done. I mean, the matches, maybe a lack of storyline, but she's been so involved in like the Judgment Day storyline and what she means to the Judgment Day. And then when she does have to fight somebody like a Zoe Starks or whoever, she destroys them because she's just on that next level right now. I do think she's head and just head and shoulders above most of the category.
She's the Roman Reigns of the Judgment Day.
Fair. Yeah. Becky, how do we feel about Becky?
I feel like oddly enough to me, the whole thing with her and Trish is because of how long 2023's felt. It's felt like a blur. Like I almost don't remember that.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Plus what she did with NXT.
Yeah, with
Tiffany
Stratton.
I like that almost better than the Trish stuff.
Yeah. Tiffany Stratton wins. I saw someone said Sky Blue. She's in the wagon category. Sorry.
Yeah, she's in the After Dark special category.
Right. Stuck in the middle with you. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you caught that. All right. How do we feel about moving on to what will be the men? Best male. I'll run this one. Let's go.
There you go.
Best male. The nominees are, get in the chat. Let us know. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, MJF, Will Ospreay, Roman Reigns, and the winner is, I'm just letting it fill up. I'm letting the chat fill up before I click it.
Drum roll. Adrenaline in my soul.
Your winner, Cody Rhodes.
I don't even know.
Oh, that's amazing. I don't agree with this one.
I don't at all. I don't.
I wouldn't say at all. I think the man had a good year.
No, I think Cody Rhodes had a great year, but I would put this on Seth Rollins and either Seth Rollins or Will Ospreay, either one of those two.
Yeah, I think part of this, it shows like when you do a fan vote, where as much as we know what Ospreay did, the fans at large might not know what the year, because Ospreay was my favorite dude this year. He destroyed it. Every time you put him in a match, he burned it down. Sorry, Seth. But, Seth had a great year, did great things with the belt. But Ospreay just had banger after banger after banger. But I don't think he has that stage yet, that where people, he's not a household name. Cody, everybody loves Cody.
Right.
It's the American dream. That's the road, baby. I can see MJF, but we've talked about it of maybe he's just been stretched too thin. Of he's been heel, he's been babyface, he has been anywhere and everywhere. He is, selling you the flyers and then selling you the popcorn and still performing in the ring too at the same time. I think this is runaway. This should be Seth Rollins. Actually, both of you were just talking about it the other day in our group chat or even today about how now Seth has passed Roman for defenses on his world heavyweight title, which he won much sooner than Roman did. And he's established that now he's legitimized that world title. He has been the foundation as much as Roman has on SmackDown to Monday Night Raw. He had the fantastic feud with Cody. He was still the top babyface on Monday Night Raw and now is caught up in the whole CM Punk thing. This has been a phenomenal year for Seth Rollins. He's the unsung MVP of 2023.
I think so. Now, all I can say to defend Cody here is one of the biggest babyface in the company. He had the rivalry with Brock Lesnar. I think some people, I don't know if they didn't love it as much as they could have, but I rewatched like the one he had in the match he had in Puerto Rico, the one where Brock blew out his shorts. I mean, that was a really good match. Or was that the third one they had? But anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think my pick would have been someone else, but he had a really good year, and he is kind of your baby face guy of the future for this company. So just goes to show kind of the level of what people perceive him as.
I think storyline wise, Seth Rollins kept it going in
Yeah.
2024. I mean, he had the first shoot with Finn Balor, then he went on to Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, and then he went on to eventually go and face the Judgment Day at War Games, Survivor Series War Games. So if you're talking about Seth Rollins, you got to put him in the conversation of having some of the best stories to come out of 2023. That's technically the reason why I would put Seth Rollins as male wrestler of the year.
He was involved with Drew as well. Christ, you still
Yeah,
can't
Drew.
go oh without
Yeah.
instantly, going through the whole gamut here.
Mhm.
Is it interesting, as TJ points out here, of no Roman Reigns, no Roman Reigns mentioned at all for top male, your tribal chief, your alpha to, or your omega to alpha, there we go, to Kenny Omega there. Is not mentioned
Mhm.
in top male superstar. Like,
He
he's
was a
there because he's
nominee.
got all the belts, but he's not there.
Yeah, just the lack of presence. The only thing about Roman is he is such a needle mover. When he shows up, everybody wants to see it. His matches, I mean, they're main event matches on big pay-per-views. So yeah, he's one of the nominees. But to me, I've been kind of, all right, Roman, we can move on. Let's give someone else with a little more, you know, pop and circumstance the belt at this point. A lot of votes for Gunther.
Valid.
Right.
You could make the case that Gunther would overtake Roman in being in the nominee, respectfully.
Yeah. Very
Yeah, I honestly, and I've said this before, and this is no knock on Seth Rollins. I feel like Gunther is the best singles champion right now in WWE. The way he's consistently, and Seth Rollins has done this too, but the way he's just consistently defended that title and put the mid card division on notice throughout the entirety of the year. I mean, I'm not really upset that Gunther. That you guys are saying Gunther should have been in here, because I feel like he should have.
Yeah.
Does Gunther get credit because he's shining lights on guys like Chad Gable and etc. when Seth, the most he can really shine a light on is a guy like Jey Uso, somebody who's already kind of been built there. Like, he's not gonna, you're not all of a sudden gonna get, JD McDonough is gonna go for a world title shot, but he could go at Gunther and get put over like $1 million.
I think it's no matter what, Gunther gets in the ring with, it's a good match, right? Even if we're like Miz is a perfect example. We're like Miz babyface, and then Gunther's like, hold my beer, I'll be right back. And we got into that storyline because Gunther's such a good heel. The crowd kind of got behind the idea of like maybe Miz will do it. Same thing with Gable. I think you're right, and I think him and Seth had that. Was not only was their story, around their belts, it paid off in the ring.
No, definitely agree there. I definitely agree. I hate that he didn't make the list, but I
Yeah.
agree.
I do too. And the guy I wanted got 6% of the vote. So what do I know?
Nobody knows.
All right, let's move on. Congratulations, Cody Rhodes. I like this one, but
Booker of the Year. And the nominees are
you chuckled. And I know why.
Tony Khan.
Uh,
And you call him a booker. HBK. Papa Paul, Triple H. And Scott D'Amore. Now, I think after we got out of one of those, we got through into the actual real nominees. But
wow. All right. I know this is going to be, some fans out there might be interesting to see how they feel.
Well, do we want to give our predictions before we announce the winner here? I feel like it might be unanimous, but just because I wonder, I'm curious if Anthony's got a case for Scott.
I don't know, that announcement of TNA returning.
Ooh.
I think I feel like that was the icing on the cake, and to see how the internet wrestling community uproared for that moment. I don't know. I feel like Scott D'Amore is in the fight. I don't know if he made it this year. I would like for him to make it, but I think next year y'all got to put Scott D'Amore's name up there. You got to put some respect on his name.
The
All
only
three of y'all.
Yeah, the only knock I have on Scott is I feel like, especially in the back half of 23, that Impact lacked kind of story. Like it was a little storyless. Yeah.
Going back to that, I think it was all because of, and I think we talked about this before live
Yeah.
on stream before, is that they were preparing for TNA
Mhm.
and kind of the production changeover. So I got to give it to you there. They
Yeah.
lacked after Bound for Glory. They lacked a lot.
You know when you're finishing up on one job and you're heading to another, so you just kind of mail it in for the last couple
You
months.
just coasted.
I do have some funny halfway nominees. Of course, saying Brett Lauderdale. No.
He was honorable mention. He was considered.
No Billy Corgan.
No, he fucked.
But now I'll ask on a side question: would you rather take a Canadian Destroyer from Scott D'Amore, a pedigree from Triple H, a super kick from HBK, or a sloppy ass Stone Cold Stunner from Tony Khan?
Why does Khan get the stunner?
I don't know, because that's the only move I think I've ever seen him fucking hit in a fan video or anything. I don't know, the slap.
I just don't know.
The NDA.
Right. Yeah, the NDA upside the head. Seriously? I mean, for nostalgia purposes, I'll take a pedigree.
I think I would take a Sweet Chin Music.
There you go.
I'm torn between the pedigree and the Sweet Chin Music here.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like I'm right there with you. I'd more take the pedigree. Granted, I'd be fucking fearing for my life. I can't put my hands anywhere.
Well, speaking of fearing for your life, let's get to the winner.
Oh, I figured I was the one announcing this. 100% Triple H wins. It's all about the game and how you play it. 100%. This man, it's so funny because in 2023, we've gone from Vince McMahon in control of WWE to WWE's been sold, and now it's owned by under the umbrella of TKO with Endeavor, and now Triple H is in charge of every bit of creative when it comes to WWE. So DX, how fitting was it, like what, 10 years ago, where DX is spray painting the side of Titan Towers and saying we run the place, and now that's fitting. That's apropos.
That's actually what is happening.
Right.
No, it's crazy. But yeah, Trips, I mean, the list of accomplishments since around Mania on have been outstanding. And I think the cherry on top of this whole dessert is the fact that he made amends. He did the one thing that Tony Khan and the Bucks could not do, is he made amends with CM Punk for the betterment of business, and it worked out very well for him.
He made Hell Freeze over with bringing in CM Punk.
And I like Triple H's version of the I Have a Dream speech, because he said, and I quote, "If I can change in 10 years, if no one can change in 10 years, there's a problem. But if 10 years goes by and someone changes, then we can move forward." That was his version of the I Have a Dream speech. So just saying.
I like it. I like what he's doing. We talk about the heater that WWE's on right now. The first 3 months of 2024, they're cooking. And I can't imagine we're going to be disappointed. We've had a lot of surprises. We're seeing talent that Vince refused to use get booked and be prominent. They're not all home runs. They're not all grand slams. I know people want perfection, but I think, pay-per-view after pay-per-view, after show, everything's improving in WWE.
Just popped me. JD from NY must be having a brain aneurysm. Yes. 100%. Well, And this is what we as pro wrestling fans have wanted for the longest time is Triple H in charge of creative. We saw what he could do with NXT when it was the black and gold. We had your Adam Coles. We had Hunter Luther King. I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad someone said it.
Right.
But we saw what Triple H could do with NXT black and gold, and now he's got main event money and main event talent to do it with. The world is your oyster, WWE.
Yeah. And then Anthony made a good case with what TNA is doing. For those who think that TK should be considered Booker of the Year, I really don't. And maybe 2 years ago we could debate it. I think Tony has fallen off. His booking's been sporadic. And actually, the best thing that I think AEW's done of the last little bit is a lack of booking. Is just we'll put a tournament together and y'all face each other, and I don't have to really think or do anything. I don't have to fuck this up. So, I think at the end of the day, he's trying, but he's not great at it.
I mean, if you put all three of those companies right now on type of like a pedal store or something, you would say for Impact, you got TNA coming back in 2024. For WWE, you have from Royal Rumble at least all the way to Backlash in France secured. And then you'll say AEW, and you're like, what do they have? They have the Masked Man that could or could not be revealed on Saturday. You don't really have anything to say about them going into 2024.
No. What happens after the Continental Classic?
Right.
Does Tony Khan even take the bronze in this category, respectfully?
Maybe
Because
not.
I even saw, I know you clicked on it there, saying Sami Callihan for Wrestling Revolver.
Shout out.
Very much almost should be considered here. Like,
Right.
I almost think that your allegedly second best promotion in the United States, top booker isn't even top 3, top 4, even almost debatable.
Do you think that Tony Khan gets dinged as far as how we evaluate him because he does have more resources, more talent? You have all of that, and this is what you're accomplishing, opposed to like a Scott D'Amore, smaller budget, arguably not the same level, or at least the immense amount of talent. But look what Scott's doing as far as creating a buzz and excitement. Look what Sami Callahan's doing, or a Brett, who's taking low budgets and blowing it up, and he's taking a big budget and minimizing things.
I agree with that, and I also think to me, Tony Khan's the Bill Belichick to an extent of when it comes to this pro wrestling thing, of because he's also the GM. He's also the one who buys the fucking groceries. He owns the company. He writes the stories. He's everything. So it's ultimately gonna fall on his head. However you feel about it, it falls on his head. And that's the biggest, black mark in his book.
I think the biggest downfall for Tony Khan, and I hate to be so negative a lot of the times, but I think it's just the way he comes off. Like, especially coming towards the latter part of the year, I'm talking September, October, where they had those head-to-head moments with WWE. It was like he was more focused on beating WWE and not really just focusing on what he has in front of him with the great crop of talent that he has. And I really think that's the biggest issue with Tony Khan. Focus on your talent. Scott D'Amore, he focuses on his talent. Triple H focuses on his talent. The only time he might make a joke or a knock on something is at one of those press conferences. He'll say something, everybody chuckles, and he moves on. But it seems like Tony Khan's job is just to kind of go out there and like, hey, we're better than WWE, and we're going to show you why. But then he fails to do so. And I think he just needs to kind of knuckle down and focus on what he has in front of him, which is potentially one of the greatest rosters in wrestling today. And you just got
certainly one of the biggest.
Yeah, and one of the biggest. And you just got to knuckle down and pay attention to that.
Yeah,
stay in your lane.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the CM Punk situation will be a forever black eye until they kind of course correct. That's a fumble on the 90-yard line. You had Punk and you couldn't make it work, and that's unfortunate.
Now, Respectfully, and I know we're doing the award show and everything, but I do
All
want
right.
to have people's opinions on this real quick. Well, because Eric Bischoff of all people, and I know I've compared AW to WCW, said AW is TNA, like Dixie Carter, Vince Russo, TNA, right now.
Yeah,
Agree or disagree? I'll ask.
I kind of agree.
I'm kind of indifferent.
Yes, man, I'm testing your loyalty here.
I kind of indifferent because I feel like Eric Bischoff actually had a hand of TNA's actual
Demise.
downfall.
Well, he was there, so he can say
anything
I
coming
helped fuck
from
it
him,
over.
I'm like,
So
I know he was there, but it was like TNA was doing fine before you walked on the scene.
was it really?
It was.
Any company that has to go to Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan and everything, are you doing fine, or are you just acting like you're doing fine?
Now this could be my lack of knowledge, because I'll admit sometimes I just don't have the knowledge. Was it TNA that knocked on Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff's door, or was it Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff that wanted to come to TNA?
Fair enough. I cannot confirm neither way, so fair enough.
Because they were kind of washed in WWE. You can even put Ric Flair in there as well, because he had his retirement match and then went on to TNA. So
yeah, I think the fair comparable there, in the sense of, you had, Dixie with all the money, and we got Tony with all the money, and they started just scooping up like Hogan well after his prime. Nash was there. They started bringing in all these people that didn't really help move the needle, but they were names. And then they were, let's go to Mondays. Oops, that was a mistake. It was a lot of miscalculation and focusing on how do we get to be like the WWE instead of staying, how do we stay different than the WWE?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's spending your parents' money, and it's still one of those of not how do we be AW, it's how do we go against WWE, like you just said there. 100%. You didn't find your identity was trying to go at your competitor.
Facts.
Exactly. I think that's where AEW is struggling now, because they came out as the alternative, but now they're trying to turn themselves into WWE. And even though that's been said in the past with other companies like WCW and TNA, it's just like you need to stick to what you came out with, and that's being the alternative in wrestling.
I agree.
Stay with what brought you to the dance.
Right.
Stay with the girl who brought you to the dance.
That's it. Two-step this way, my friend. I think I think this is the last one, guys. I think we've made it to the end. You guys want to tandem this one? I like when you all do that.
Fair enough.
But best promotion of 2023 as voted by our fans, which was a couple hundred that actually participated. So take it for what it's worth, folks. Let's go.
Wrestling Revolver is nominee number 1.
WWE is nominee number 2.
Impact Wrestling. I feel like odd that I'm the one that got that one. Yes.
Luck of the draw.
Right.
AEW.
All right, I'm gonna wait. I'm not clicking the winner yet because
I don't know. I feel like we've kind of already spoiled it with the past conversation a little bit.
We gotta curve it up a little, eh?
We've built this up long enough. We know by now.
All right. Well, let's get to it then. Where's my cheer button? If I get a good one, there we go.
Rip the Band-Aid off here.
All right, promotion of the year
goes to WWE.
The big bad evil empire, voted by, and I see the chat. I mean, it's so hard to argue with everything they accomplished. All the records that on Boxing Day, they not only set a record in Madison Square Garden for what they made, they also did it at the same time in Baltimore with a portion of their crew, like breaking records in 2 cities in the same night. I mean, and we talked about 2024 land, how bright it looks.
I have never heard someone refer to Boxing Day as much as I've heard you refer to Boxing Day. Man, I'm gonna knock you out. But yeah, we've joked about it on stream to where the MSG show, and I get it's MSG, double sold the tickets for AW's World End, and that's where we've got people commenting, oh, that might be pay-per-view there. No. This company is white hot right now.
Yeah, I think WWE might have came off one of their best years, especially when it came to topping numbers. And then when I heard Nick Khan say that his goal every time they go to, the same city, maybe months, down the line, is like, we want to top those cities' numbers from last time. So for an example, they came to Atlanta back in June. The next time they come to Atlanta is actually in January. He wants to top the June numbers in January. And it's like he has a goal each time. And it seems like WWE is doing that. And hands down, they, had the best year, obviously. I mean, there's been a lot of buzz. You've seen, and I can use my brothers for an example. I've seen my brothers who have not watched wrestling since Stone Cold The Rock days come back and watch wrestling because of the bloodline, over the past year. So it's like WWE is doing big things.
Yeah, and I think you touched on what's really important of what you said there is I almost feel like AEW has done the opposite. They went back, to Arthur Ashe. They went back to other places, and they didn't sell as well as they had in 22 or 21.
Law of diminishing returns. But even with WWE, like, let's not let it be forgotten that this company sold for the first, like, something we thought in our lifetimes would never happen is a McMahon does not own World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's not that be understated. There we go. I'll get the words. But you got it. But yeah, it's now just elevated it to that next level of now. Not only is it talked about amongst pro wrestling fans, now it's integrated with UFC fans, mixed martial arts fans. It's now part of a whole fucking global empire, even more than what it already was. This is like if the New York Yankees just teamed up with like fucking Fox or something. Like, how can we just keep getting bigger and bigger?
No, absolutely. I do want to take a second to acknowledge the two smaller companies that were nominated. Impact, again, had a good year, created a lot of buzz, but I think they did a lot of work for the future. I'm really excited for that. So 2023 had a lot of great things in it from start to finish, but I think they were building towards next year.
No, agreed. I think I just want to say I want to see how these awards are next year, where TNA is standing, coming from the end of 2023 and going into 2024 and the rest of the 366 days next year, because it is a leap year. I want to know how TNA is going to be this time around next year.
Yeah.
Bold prediction for 2024 that TNA will legitimately and definitively be the top 2 wrestling promotion in the US.
I like it. I like competition. I like the chaos. And a big shout out to Wrestling Revolver. We cover Wrestling Revolver here on the channel. And to their credit, they don't put on bad shows. They don't do a lot of shows, but they don't give us bad ones when they do.
Oh, no, not at all. We might be, you might see a bit more of Wrestling Revolver and everything like that on the channel and everything like that, but we'll see. But yeah, 100%. They're the top to me outside of like the big 3, I'll say. They're the top, kind of second tier promotion. GCW's up there, but like you've talked about constantly on streams of, they've oversaturated the market, I feel.
A little bit. Yeah, they watered down their product because you get so much of it. You're getting a lot of repetition. Been there, done that. But I mean, we've seen them grow immensely, but I think they peaked and kind of plateaued.
Between that and AW, I don't need to see someone bleed in wrestling 7 days a week.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, that's all our categories. That is all we've gone through the gambit here, and it was fun. I enjoyed this. 2023 was a crazy year in wrestling. I think both of you guys touched on it, that it felt like 5 years in 1 year of all the shit that happened, inside and outside of the ring. It was just wrestling at a different level than we've had it in quite a while.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'm scared going into 2024 of like, and scared in a good way of like, what are we going to get that's going to top 2023? Because it's like it's been just a whirlwind, and going into 2024, I don't feel like it's going to be any different. I think it's just going to be more intense.
But I'm 100% here for it. I'm 100% excited with this of going into 20, like we've already talked about, you've talked about, KJ, of how the channel's grown going into 2020, from 2022 to 2023, going into 2024. Much has pro wrestling grown, and that's the thing, is it's gotten nothing but more. You're starting to see more and more of the lapsed wrestling fans, I feel, come back to pro wrestling. And we're getting, I know it's a trope, but we're getting that wrestling boom across the board. We want companies like Impact, like TNA, like AW, everything to succeed because it creates that competition. 2023 to me has the potential to be one of the greatest wrestling years of all time.
I hope so. And the best part of it all is we will be here live for just about every second of it, as we always are. Again, we don't lie when we say we cover more live wrestling than anybody else, guys. We are here constantly. We will be back right up until basically the eve of New Year's Eve. We got more content coming your way, and I cannot wait to kick off the year and WWE taking us on a world tour. Yeah, I can't wait for 2024. I can't wait to watch this channel grow. I appreciate everybody who showed up and enjoyed this. Get in the comment section, not just the chat. Go down in the comment section. Let us know of awards we could have given out. Let us know of, misses like Gunther. Let us know where we could have done better, or people, the vote could have done better. Give us your 2 cents on the 4Lifees Awards. You were going to say something, my friend?
That was all. Unless
you're just agreeing with me, like, right? I was like, right, what?
No, I was agreeing with you, unless you want me to do my send-off here.
In 2 seconds. But yeah, and no, guys, any final thoughts on any of this tonight? Anything? You good? How you feeling?
I don't have anything to say. Just know that it's going to be a lot different when TNA returns in 2024.
I can't wait.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Us three are going to be live for that Hard to Kill, and it's going to be a night to remember, folks. Nick, you were saying?
No, I was going to say, as we got multiple Wrestling for Life over everybody, Wrestling for Life over everybody. Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you're talking about the wrestling, but put that for life with it.
Get yourself a golden gauge. See you on the flip side. Thank you so much. Good night.